Hi everybody, how's it going? It's good to see you. I hope you had a wonderful, sorry, I was of course in the process of doing my hair before I do the video. I hope you guys had a wonderful Scorpio full moon. The energy was really great, really intense. I mean, I don't know how others feel, but for me it was good energy. Only because, God, it rained all that week, and then it was very like cleansing. It was like when you're dealing with the water element in this case, which it was perfect timing. That looks ridiculous. It was like perfect timing to do a cleanse and to get rid of that residual energy that you carry when you're realigning your higher self to your purpose. And that's gonna, you guys, that's a dance you're gonna be doing for a while. So you're going to be feeling these shifts, this back and forth energy a lot, until it acclimates itself, which I think is going to be happening by the end of May. Because supposedly, well, not supposedly, most definitely, there is going to be a greater shift coming because of the Silver Gateway, which is with Orion. The Orion portal is going to open up, and then I'm not saying it right, but it has to do with the Pleiades. Asiacone? How do I say that? I gotta find out. Hold on. Should have done my research a little bit better before I started. Asiacone? Pleiades portal? No, it's called the Pleiades portal, but it has a name, or what people are calling it in spiritual circles. So I'd rather just use the right word so you guys know, and I want to be able to say it right.
Yes, I hear you.
Oh, is that it? Okay. Oh, I wrote it wrong. That's why. That makes sense. Hang in there. Okay. Here we go.
We are looking at how to pronounce these names as well as how to say more interesting but often confusing
Just say it.
from Greek mythology, so make sure to stay tuned to the channel. For reference in Greek, this is said as Alkyone.
Alkyone. That's it. Alkyone. But you can see Alkyone. Someone said Alkyone. It's Alkyone in Greek. But it basically is the Pleiades gateway. And what's happening between the two is that one is going to shift you. And this is what I've been saying. Just I haven't used these terms. But basically, you are shifting into your alignment to your authenticity and what it is that you were meant to do. So a lot of people are doing that right now, and that's great, right? That's for that one. And then the Silver Gateway is actually a supposed gateway for where souls transition onto the earth plane with these timelines shifting. I feel what that means for me psychically is that a lot of us are going to be able to tap into our psychic ability and be in touch with the divine, but also those who are in heaven or the other side, and be able to access that information. Also the Akashic records. So you're going to find that you're going to astral travel a lot. You're going to find that your psychic ability is heightened during this time. You're going to find that you are repeating maybe some karmic cycles, but it's only because it's washing away what's no longer necessary for you to continue onto your path. And it's also like this timeline shifting that is happening that I've been talking about for the past decade. It's almost like now we're merging into a higher timeline, the timeline that is supposed to be, the new path for us to follow, our authentic timeline. So, I mean, it's all about resonating, raising vibration. We're still dealing with karmics, but not on the same level as we were, I'm going to say, like, maybe, like, I don't know, like 5 years ago. I mean, at least I'm not. I don't know. I mean, if you're doing the work, you're not. You know what I mean? You're not dealing with them. So, keep doing the work you're doing. If you feel that you're teetering back and forth, which I was doing the dance, definitely, because we're being so challenged by the darks, you know, or by the karmics. They don't want us to progress, you know. They're trying to keep us from progressing, so they're going to do whatever it takes to do that. Now is not the time to be... what's the word I'm looking for? Now is not the time to be... And I got to stop fussing with my hair because it's silly to be doing that when I'm trying to read you guys. Now is not the time to be complacent. Now is not the time to be backing down. Now is not the time to be taking any bullshit from anybody. It's time to stand up for yourself. It's time to speak your spiritual truth. It's time to be honest with yourself about the path you are on and who is in your environment. That's the biggest one, because a lot of you refuse to let go of karmics that are in your life that are not supporting your path, that are not supporting your vision, that are staying stuck in the karmic cycles or the old timeline. You have to let them go. If they're going to rise to meet you, great. If they're not, you have to let them go. It sucks. It hurts. It hurts to see. It's almost like someone who knows they're dying and they're crossing over to heaven or to the other side, and they have to leave their friends and family, but they're vibrating higher. It's just, I'm not saying that we're dying. I'm just simply, well, maybe it is. It's kind of like a metamorphosis or a death, right? Because the old self or the old narrative or the old karmic cycle is dying. It is indeed dying. And so you're moving forward. And not everybody can come along for the ride. But let's just keep going. All right. Let me get my notepad and my happiness. I mean, already we're starting out intense. I'm sorry, guys, but you know what? These reads are going to get more intense because the energy is getting more intense, and your energy is getting more intense, and your righteous anger, I just heard. It's not anger in the sense where you're angry at the world and you're separating yourself from society. I mean, yeah, you probably are doing the hermit a bit because you're looking inward, you know, and you don't want other energies to muddle that progression. But sooner or later, we're going to reintroduce these energies. Now, whether they're karmic or not, I mean, yeah, we're going to always have karmics in our life challenging us. That's unfortunate, but true. I mean, we wouldn't learn otherwise. So it really isn't unfortunate. That wasn't the right word to use. It's very fortunate that we're learning these lessons and evolving and growing. But it's also, there's a certain levity, I feel, when an old karmic situation tries to come back. Assuming that you're the same person 20 years ago, 15 years ago, 10 years ago, even 5 years ago, even 2 years ago, even 6 months ago. Doesn't matter. Because if you're constantly evolving and growing and learning and trying to shift, like we all are as lights, you're not going to be the same person you were fucking yesterday, let alone, 5 years ago. So, with that being said, now we can progress. I guess I could use this one. I got all my crystals out back here, all my crystal skulls and my happiness. And there's certain ones that I like to use to ground my energy and to flow. I mean, of course they're going to talk about what they talk about. We're going to have to talk about that. And I always say I don't want to, because I don't want to lend it energy, but in a way, it's almost like I have to, so that you guys are aware, not that you're not, because I think you could feel the energy regardless. So yeah, let's just get that going. I can't wait to fix this. I've been doing little things here and there. I'm actually thinking about trading this one in and getting a bigger rig, because this is only 27 feet. I think I want like 33 or or 36. That's a little big, but I want a house on wheels, so I could just go wherever I want. A lot of people are changing their environments, I think, is what I'm getting. In your current situation, it's not working anymore. It's not resonating with your higher self. So I'm getting a lot of people are changing their environment in some way, either aesthetically or literal moving or relocation or a completely different lifestyle than what you've been living. So I'm seeing a lot of, for my collective, a lot of shifts in my environment, because it's almost like I could feel the timeline shifts on a subconscious level. And so I feel like I'm like, well, what? Something's changing, or I feel I need to change, or I feel I need to do something. So you're changing things on the 3D to meet that energy. So it's great. You're actually working with the energy on a subconscious level by, you know, purging things that are no longer needed. And I'm talking the physical, three-dimensional things, not so much the we'll get to the emotional stuff. let's not do that just yet. But I am getting this feeling like I'm doing the great purge. I'm releasing things that no longer serve my authenticity or my authentic self right now. The things I love is what I want to surround myself with. So do I really love this? Is this something that I need? It's very minimalist, but it's not. Like, I could say I'm a minimalist. I don't really have a lot of stuff, but I do. I have the things I love. So I do have my crystals and my statues and my cards, and I have, you know, my creature comforts, which is like my candles and my incense and my essential oils and my herbs, and that's the stuff I love. And then my son has the stuff that he loves. So, I mean, it's just more about that. It's not about the stuff. And even though those things cost money as well, at least it's things that resonate with your authentic self. So the vibration is shifting just by doing that. And that's a lot of you. Ooh, my nose is itching. That always happens when I start reading. Yeah. So it's like we're shifting the energy just by doing that. We're shifting our 3-dimensional world, 4-dimensional, 5-dimensional, in order to get to the 6-dimensional. And I hate putting dimensions on it, but there are layers, you know. I have no other way to describe it. But etheric layers or realms of existence. And so we have every right as a soul being to bilocate, trilocate. We can go to whatever level we decide. So planes of existence on the Earth schematic is something that we can, you know, elevate to different levels. So when people talk about, oh, we're going to this dimension now, the fact is that you can move within any dimension that you choose. I don't really like to put a dimension on where I'm at, you know. There's times I do like to visit the my nose keeps itching, I'm so sorry. There's times I do like to visit the 3-dimension and be rooted and grounded in the earth plane, at the roughness or the rough core of it, you know. And then there's times I like to be in the higher dimensions where, I mean, we can excel to the point where we're so etheric that we astrally project and we have out-of-body experiences. I do that all the time. I don't know about you guys, but I do. If that's something you want to do, keep meditating. I always say that. Just keep meditating. And you have to be careful, too, in the astral realms, because you'd be surprised. Karmics exist on every realm. Dark entities exist on every realm, just like we do. They have the capacity to do the same thing. So always be careful. Ground. You know, make sure you put a shield of protection around you. I always say ground, shield, and be protected when you're doing what you're doing. Don't just blatantly experiment acting like you know what you're doing. You have to be very careful when you're entering different realms of existence. But I always call it bilocation, trilocation, you know, because we're able to do that. We vibrate. It's all through vibration and tone as well. I know I'm randomly saying things, but those who know, okay? And those who don't know, whatever words I'm saying that you don't know, look it up. Just Google it, okay? And then learn, research. It's so important on a soul level to constantly be learning, to constantly do your research. Like me, I just learned that word for, you know, for the Pleiades. I don't know everything, certainly not. I wouldn't want to be honest with you. That's a lot of knowledge to know, you know. I'm sorry, guys. My seat is just, it's hurting my butt. So, anyway. Let's keep going. So like I said, you guys are, you're basically changing your environments to reflect your higher self and the shift that you're in. And you're going to continually do that. And as you're vibrating higher, you'll notice, and it's not about being minimalist. If that's what your thing is, fine. I know people that have tons of things that they love surrounding them, and it's organized in such a way that it's beautiful. If that's what they like, that's what they like. it's the less is more is great, but it doesn't essentially, if it doesn't vibrate with your higher self or what your being likes, maybe you like, you know, I had a friend that would collect these little tchotchke things. So I had a whole wall of them. I had another friend that collect coffee mugs. That was her happiness. You know, whatever turns you on, you know, do what you got to do. It makes you happy. That the whole point is that you're in a place of happiness when you look around your environment and you're like, ah, yes, this resonates with me. This is what I love to see. You know, it's just that's what you're doing. And I like that energy a lot. It's smart. You're also keeping away from negative people, negative conversations, toxic things like whether smoking, drinking. Believe me, I've done my share. Whether it's going out partying or frivolous spending, I just heard. Like, you're not... It's not to say you can't imbibe and you can't enjoy. It's not to say that you can't let yourself go on occasion. But the problem is that it does lower your vibration because you kind of open yourself up. You know, if you're a tad hedonistic, you're opening yourself up to those kind of energies. So just be careful. Be careful. Have fun, you know. Like every Sunday, I tell you guys all the time, every Sunday I love to make my Italian food and I like to have wine. That's what I do. And I do, you know, I enjoy it. And if that's what I want to do on Sunday, that's what I give my soul permission to do. I make sure I don't do any readings. I don't book readings on Sunday. So that I can just enjoy being free and just being what I would say normal, I guess. You know, it's like the only time where I don't have to talk about the spiritual stuff and I could just, you know, be a person who just lives a life, you know. Not that I, you know, enjoy my spiritual work immensely, but I just, when you do it every day and you eat, live, and breathe it, sometimes, you know, you don't want to talk about it. When people find out what I do, that's all they want to talk about. And I'm just like, oh, can we not? You know, like I do this every day. But then there's sometimes I'm so engaged. And of course, I want to hear what they have to say. But so that's, you know, that's okay. I'm not saying that you have to live like a nun is basically my point. You don't have to be a priest or a nun. You don't have to be, you know, even as a high priestess. I remember before I started, when I was 18, before I started the craft or practicing witchcraft, I did a cleanse and I basically didn't eat. I did a fast and I fasted for a whole week. I wanted to do it for 7 days. That was my goal. So I fasted for a whole week. All I did was drink water. That was it. Just water. And I did it for a whole week. And then I was initiated because I was part of a coven at the time. And I did my year I did a whole year in a day. I mean, it wasn't, they were Wiccan, but I consider myself a witch. I'm not Wiccan. That's a religion. But I did want to learn, because it's always good to have a platform or a basis, you know? And then whatever you learn from there, you take, and then you can, you can add what you feel you want to add to your spiritual practice, which is what I did. But I did do that. So, and then when I was dedicated as a priestess, it just felt right, you know? And I remember my friend was like, you need to eat, just eat something. And then I slowly was reintroducing, like I was drinking tea, I was drinking broth, and then I slowly was reintroducing foods. But I mean, you and your mind, it's almost like that's what I'm getting. And this whole cleansing, this whole purging. And I think Scorpio full moon activated that within the DNA for everybody to be doing this. And so you could be cleansing yourself in other ways. I'm not saying you're going to take it to the extreme like me, where you're going to fast for a whole week. Maybe you are. Or maybe you're doing raw vegan, or maybe you're just doing vegan, or maybe you're giving up smoking, or maybe you're giving up drinking. Whatever the case may be. There is something going on with all the lights purging something. Maybe it's a toxic friendship that you've had forever and you're just like, I can't anymore. My higher self refuses to deal with this bullshit. Like, it's just, you're done. And I'm also hearing something about self-respect. It's like anybody who's treating you without self-respect or disrespecting your spirit, your authentic self isn't going to put up with it. In fact, it's going to just reject. And it may not even go to the point where you defend yourself. Like, your higher self doesn't feel it needs to defend itself. you're on a soul level, you know, I don't have to defend myself. I don't have to explain myself. But if you are confronted and you feel you need to, then by all means, that's where the righteous anger comes in. I had a conversation with my niece this morning. She called me out of the blue, and I told her how I felt about everything. It was very direct and to the point, and I said, you know, I was like, I just needed you to understand something had happened. We don't need to rehash it. But it really did shift my relationships with my family, and how I'm not looking backward, and that I'm just going forward. And I'm here to do work that maybe they don't understand, and that's fine. I'm not here for their understanding, and that's exactly what you guys are going to see yourselves. You're going to be like, well, you know, obviously, for some reason, like if you notice like people are getting annoyed just by your light or your presence or what it is that you're doing, and they get they have something to say all the time, or there's some kind of attitude about it, or backhanded compliments or whatever, you know, the bullshit. I don't need to tell you, grown ass people, you know what they do. You're just gonna be like, it's almost like you look in confusion, like, what is your problem? Like, what does it matter what I'm doing? You know, why does it bother you so much that I'm living my authentic truth? That's what's bothering them. You're living your authentic truth. They're still stuck, you know, they don't want to, what's the word you just said, Spirit? They just said something really on point. It's not the narrative. They don't want to change the, it's almost like when you're acting in a play, they don't want to change the, oh God, I wish I could figure it out. Hold on one second. When people make changes in a play while they're acting, what is the perfect word for that? Ad-libbing or improvising. Okay, improvising. Yeah. It's not about that. We're not doing that. Let me see. When an actor speaks through their character using words not found in the play's text. Well, that's something else. Coming up with lines on the spot without a run through. What I mean is that it's all, yes, Spirit, yes, it's all an act. It's all an act, and so they're used to a certain way of putting on the play or putting on the great show. Whereas my lights are, you're authentic and you're real, and you're just like, I can't do this. This isn't my scene, you know? Like I don't want to be acting. I don't want to pretend I'm enjoying myself if I'm someplace where I'm surrounded by actors, you know? And then it's funny because what happens is on a soul level, you guys seek out, or you find each other, I should say. Because I don't know about you, but whenever I'm like in the grocery store or if I'm somewhere, I can pinpoint a sage, a witch, you know, someone who is a light, or, you know, a light bearer, or like a wise person, or a shaman. You know, I know who they are, and we radiate to each other, and we just strike up conversation. And it could be the way they look or the way they dress, but not always. Not all of us look like, you know, like we're that, you know. But so it's gonna get to, you know, we'll find each other if we're in situations where we're surrounded by, you know, the three-dimensional play actors, and we seek out the authentic, or we seek out the authentic people, and we find those people to hold a conversation with. And then you'll notice, like, those other people, the actors, will come walking up like, oh, what are you guys talking about? Like, really? Oh my God, oh, that's so weird. And then they have to ruin it and muddle it with their bullshit. And so, and then it's like, we're gonna just move it over here then. If it bothers you, you don't have to be here, really. So it's funny, this energy that I'm getting, because I still feel like you're surrounded by those kind of people, no matter what, we always will be. But you can honestly just look at them, and I've done this before, and trust me, they hate it. You can honestly just be at a place, and if they interrupt your conversation with that kind of narrative, you can, because me and this guy were having this really great esoteric conversation, right? And it was at barbecue. And we were just talking about, like, timeline shifting and, you know, quantum whatever and planetary involvement and, you know, gemstones and what's going on and da-da-da. We were just talking about everything. Oh, my nose keeps itching. I'm so sorry. It does this sometimes. Spirit tickles. So, and then someone came up, and I don't know if it was, I don't know. She just came up and was like, "Ah, what are you guys talking about?" And oh, that's so interesting. I didn't know you were into that kind of thing. Like saying that to the guy, and the guy's like, "Yeah." He's like, pretty much. I mean, you see my platforms, you see the work I do. He's like, "That's what I do." And she's like, "Oh," she's like, "It's so strange though, don't you think? Like, I mean, isn't it hard to?" And I don't know. We kind of glazed over when she started talking, and not to be mean, it wasn't spiritual snobbery. It was more like we were looking at her like, why, you know, like, what are you doing? You're interrupting the flow. You're interrupting the energy, and she just wasn't having it. She was like, "Why don't you guys come over here and hang out with us and do that?" And we were just like, "No, we're good. We just want to finish this conversation. We're really engaged right now." And so it's gonna be those kind of situations. You're gonna find yourself more and more involved in those kind of scenarios, you know. And that's okay. It's not spiritual snobbery. You're just so engaged with whoever you're speaking to, especially if it's another light, especially if it's someone you can learn from. Especially if it's an ignition of some kind of inner fire where your souls are, you know, kind of recognizing each other. And then when someone else comes in, it's like dabbled energy, or it's like you're not feeling. Because normally it would be great if it was like a triad and then that energy exchange was bouncing, right? But we weren't getting that with her, you know, and that it was just like, we were like, "Oh, that's great, you know, have fun. We'll be there in a minute." You know, we were trying to be polite, but we were also like, "God, can you just go?" Because we want to finish this. So it's funny. Just realize you're not being a jerk. You're just your authentic self. You know, when spirit talks to me, when I get messages, it's very direct, very to the point, clean, concise. It's not. We're not going to be muddling it with ego or useless adjectives. You know, that kind of thing. So you'll notice that that's how you'll start talking to people as well. Your higher self is going to be very direct, clean, and concise, and a lot of people might find that off-putting, and it's not meant to come across that way. But I think that once they hear what you have to say and they absorb it, they'll be like, it might take them some time because you know they're not vibrating as high as you guys are, so you have to give them time to absorb and listen, and they'll reflect on it, and they'll probably be angry at first, and then they'll be like, "Oh, wow, that was pretty profound," or "Now I understand what they're trying to say." It's like that kind of energy. So I don't want you to be afraid to express that. You know, don't just be you, be your authentic self. The more you are, the more it's going to be easier in the long run for you. And the more you'll recognize others of like mind in that sense, and that light will attract the other lights that are like, "Oh wow, you know, there's a light, let me go and talk to them because I can't talk to these people." And it's not to say that we can't teach them, but if they're not open to being taught, if they're not really engaged, or they're not wanting to absorb, and they're just happy being where they are, then you have to walk away. I mean, there's only so much you can do. You can't, what's that saying? You can't lead a horse to water, right? So it's not our job to shift everybody. They have to shift on their own. If there's some way you can guide them, I mean, that's why we have master teachers. That's why we have speakers. That's why we have psychics. That's why we have gurus. That's why we have, you know, all these things that you can learn from. I mean, this day and age, it's everything, you know, information is out there. It's just out. Now, how you perceive the information and how you resonate with it is entirely up to you. You don't have to, you know, I only go with what my higher self resonates with. And it's not to shut down other ideas, because I'm very open to hearing them. But if I don't resonate with it, I'm going to just simply say, I'm just not feeling it. But that's cool that you're into that, and good luck. You know, that's their path. That's okay. You don't have to be it's not cultish, you know. I've been doing this journey alone for a long time, and I get information from the people that I talk to, and I give information to the people who want to hear it, and then that's it. You know, we don't push. We're not evangelistic. Oh my god, I just keep going on this rant. I'm so sorry, but the information's like bop, 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 bop. All right, let's keep going. So, changing the environment, right? So that's what you guys are doing. let's talk about having to do. Oh, look at that arc. That's so cool how they're showing me having to do the business or the tasks or living the life of purpose on your authentic level that you're meant to live. And how, like, because when I do timelines, I do eights. See, I do figure eights repetitively. Now I'm doing arcs. So now, instead of it being a circle where if I drop a pebble in the water, it radiates outward, right? It seems to be arcing outward, because what's happening is your light is you know, it's pushing the momentum forward. It is pushing that energy forward, because the darks are trying to keep shield it, right? But we're echoing it out. So now we're pushing it. That's why it's not a perfect circle where we're radiating, you know, it's radiating outward in a gentle way, which is also very good. But now we're kind of getting pissy and we're like, no, this is how it's going. And I keep seeing like that, like souls or higher beings or us, you know, lights, standing there and just taking their hand and then I see the wave of energy going. So that's what we're doing. We're putting the, what's the word, Spirit? No, they just said something. It was almost, sorry guys. So their vocabulary is way more extensive than mine. It's just like this effect of, what's another word for pushing energy? What is another word for propelling energy forward? Maybe propelling. Accelerating energy forward, advancing, or pushing. Okay. So I think that's what I wanted to say was propelling. So that's what it's like. That it feels like a propulsion. Like it's like when a jet takes off or when a rocket takes off. That, you know, and it's pushing off the ground, or it's pushing away the negative energy and pushing the light forward in such a way that whoever is standing in front of it is going to be touched by that light, whether they like it or not. And you know, that was one thing. Everybody wonders why I love Sylvia Browne so much. Sylvia Browne, I'm so sad that she died, because I feel like she had so much more work to do. But luckily, you know, hopefully she has people carrying the information forward. She said it in a different way too, but it's all the same, you know. So in her way, she would always say that whenever you're confronted by a dark energy or a dark entity or a dark person, that you would have to state, well, whoever comes within my space, whoever comes within this light is going to be touched by that light, whether they like it or not. And I tell that to my son before he goes to school, because he was dealing with a bully. He's not anymore, thankfully. We fixed that situation. You know, we fixed it. You don't need to know how. Don't worry about it. But anyway, we fixed it. And so, and we didn't, not in a negative way, guys. I'm just saying, as a witch, you do what you got to do, you know. No harm, no foul. But everything, they're getting along great now, and it's good. And so I always used to tell him when he was feeling really nervous about going to school and having to deal with this person, I'd be like, Brian, just simply say, whoever comes within my space is going to be touched by the white light of my higher self, whether they like it or not. And he did it. And, you know, I'm so proud of him. He's such a sweet kid, man. He's my little Scorpio, and he's such a genius. He's so smart. I can't gush enough about my son. On a spiritual level, he's amazing. On every level, to me, he's amazing. So I just love him. He's my babes. All right, let's keep going. So that's it. You're the Spirit's just telling me you're like this arc of light. So you're this arc of light, and this arc of light is going to be, you know, it's like, it's showing me, I have to say it the way they're showing me. So I'm saying arc of light, right? And when you're thinking two-dimensionally. No. So this light is radiating within you, right? And it's spreading outward, right? But instead of being a circle around, because you have to think in multi-dimensions. You can't just think three-dimensional, two-dimensional, four-dimensional, five-dimensional. Multi-dimensional. Up, down, side, back, forward, all around, within, without, every etheric plane. That's what I'm talking about when I say multi-dimensional. So this arc of light, the light is coming from the solar plexus, right? Which is your will, which is your strength, which is where, now right above your solar plexus though, is where the anchor of the higher self is. It's right in between the heart chakra, and you can believe me or you don't have to believe me. It doesn't matter. I'm just telling you what I know for my own self and what my experience is. So it's in between the heart chakra and the solar plexus, and it's right in the center. So that arc of light is coming from there, and it's coming out like this, and it's lighting from within and spreading out and pushing forward, because now it's time for us to start doing what we're supposed to do. It's time to reconnect with other lights. It's time to flip the timeline and perpetuate forward the work that we are meant to be doing in this kind of shared experience, but also feeling like you're on your own. If you feel like you're lonely now, that's okay. Don't worry about it. It's only because you're recalibrating your DNA to be your authentic self and to remember basically who you are. Okay? You know, we all have our chart, but charts can be changed. You know, people are like, in the past, maybe if I was reading in the beginning when I started around my 20s, I started really doing readings. I used to say, well, the chart is the chart. But no, as I've evolved and grown, there are ways to shift the chart. There are ways to talk to the council. There are ways to speak to your ancestors, your guides, your angels, to have communion with your higher self and God and Goddess, and tell them, I want to shift this on my timeline, and as a soul, I have every right to do so, and this is why. If you explain your case, they'll listen, and they'll shift it, and they'll work with you. As long as the lesson isn't lost, because you still have to learn the lesson. You still have to go through the karmic tribulations, because you carry over whatever's in your cell memory from past lives, and if you didn't finish that work in other lives, then you have to finish it in the current life. I find I've done, you know, past life readings for a lot of people. You can call them regressions if you like, because it kind of is, I guess. But I'm not hypnotizing them. I'm just reading them. And so I can jump in their blueprint, and I can jump in their chart, and I can see, you know, what lives have carried over and what work needs to be done. I'm so surprised I don't get as many past life readings. A lot of people want to know what currently, which I don't blame them. I would too. But you have to understand, a lot of your past lives are affecting your current life. So if those things haven't been resolved, they need to be. And so we need to figure out what they are. And a lot of you you'll know yourself. If you're a light and you're doing the work, you're going to know, because it shows up in repetitive patterns. It shows up in different people who are the same energy. And it shows up in knowing that in order to change and shift and grow, we cannot continue doing the same things that we've always done. Right? So yeah, this arc of light, I love it. Okay, I just want to see what else they're telling me here. They want to talk about relationships, but it's almost like they don't. It's weird. Because they're telling me, and you guys don't be upset when I say this, because I know a lot of you are happily ever after, want to marry, my significant other, grow old together, I get all that. I really do. Believe me, I used to think the same thing. Hold on, guys. I'm going to pause for a minute. Okay, so, I mean, they're telling me right now, if you're a single person or if you're a single energy, you're working alone until you're supposed to meet your divine counterpart, divine feminine, divine masculine, whatever that may be for you. But the thing is, even when you do meet this person, it's not going to be a typical falling in love, swooning over each other. It's going to be more like, my soul recognizes you. I know we have work to do. And if we have fun doing it, then that's great. It's not going to be, I mean, I can't say it. You know, romance isn't really the top thing, or getting swept off your feet. It's more like, I'm going to show you my wounds, you're going to show me yours, but we're not going to revel in that. It's not going to propel forward with us. We're ending it. We're ending those cycles. We did the work separately, and now we're coming together because there's more work to do, but in a higher vibration. And so what is that work that we have to do? Now, the love stuff is just a beautiful addition. I mean, all of this is, love is the strongest vibration, right? We all know that. But I'm just saying, it's not going to be like, I can't explain it. Like, spiritually, or like, your higher self isn't going to be all goofy and like, oh my God, I so love him, and oh my God, she's amazing, and I just want to be with it. Yeah, you're going to want to be with each other all the time because you want to be in each other's energy. But you're also going to want to do the work So whatever they're doing, whatever you're doing, possibly merging that together, working together, growing it together, building a life together, and then radiating, arcing the energy outward to touch other people and other lives in order to propel it forward. I'm not saying it's not going to be romantic. I mean, yeah, you're going to still, you know, when you find your person, you're going to make love, you're going to have your fun, you're going to grow together, maybe you'll live together and you'll do all those things. But it's not the most predominant thing where it's like, I have to get married, I have to live with this person, I have to. No, as long as you guys are doing the work together, it could also be that it's not a significant other. It could be a family member, it could be a sibling, it could be a long lost uncle or aunt that you're meant to do this work with. Our spiritual counterparts aren't always someone that we're meant to have a marriage or relationship with, or have sex with even. It's just, it is what it is. If you're lucky enough to have your divine counterpart and the sex is on the menu, that's great, because you know I'm all about the Kundalini stuff and that tantric stuff and all of that, because it's embodying that arcing other energy, you know, that love, that passion, that energy, the sacral chakra. That's also important. All the chakras are. I really want you guys to start working on your chakras if you don't already. Oh, good Lord. Hold on one second, you guys. What? No. Yes. Okay. What? No. Okay. That's that. Alright, so where was I? So, I mean, even if it is a love relationship, let's just say you do meet somebody and then there's obvious love and feelings there, it's still going to be something where you work together. So maybe you'll do a business together. Maybe you'll, it's that kind of vibration is what I'm getting. It's not so much about like, let's, you know, we love each other. What's it? Move in together, marry. You don't have to have that sense of doing things how it was done in the 40s, 50s, whatever, where it was like, we get married, we get the house, we have the da-da-da. That's an old version or an old schematic way of thinking. It's going to be different this time. If you do get a house together, you're probably going to do a homestead with solar panels, because that's where the earth is vibrating to. It's not going to be how it was with the green grass in the front with no wildlife or no stuff for the environment. All of these things are happening. All of these things are taking place and have been for the past 20 years. It's just some of us are slow to start, and some of us are kind of so dug into the old schematic that uprooting ourselves from it is painful. You know, it really is. Because you built this life and you're like, well, what are you saying? So this is wrong now? That doesn't mean that you can't stay with the person that you're with if that's who you're meant to be with. But it does mean that changes in the environment, like we just talked about from the beginning of the reading, have to happen or have to occur. I know I use my hands a lot. Sorry, I'm Italian. That's just par for the course. So that's what I'm getting. It's all stemming from this change or this vibration of shifting. And if I'm not with the right person and I am with a karmic and they're not supporting this, then that's going to fall away. It's whether you like it or not. I'm sorry. I'm not wishing anybody to get divorced or leave a person they've been with for 50 years or 20 years or even 10 years. But I am saying that if they're not seeing the vision or if they're not vibrating with you, then it might be time to heave ho. And don't tell me you guys don't know, because you do. You guys know whether or not you're in a karmic cycle or if you're not. I don't need to explain that. Alright, they do want to talk about the darks now. Ugh. Do we have to spirit? My spirit guide's laughing. She's like, yes, because it's essential for us to understand. Give me a second. I'm getting that a lot of them are finally giving up. Some are so hell-bent on destruction that, unfortunately, the destruction's turning against them. And, you know, it's not like they haven't been warned. They've been warned. But now all the things that they have wished for my divines and my lights are now hitting them back. Remember that arc of light I talked about? Well, there's also an arc of darkness. So what happens is it's almost like a black hole. So if they're pushing out the dark is coming back and consuming them like a black hole. And that's the only way they're showing it to me. It's kind of creepy, actually. Because I'm seeing, like, it's almost like their own energy, that darkness is eating them from within. You know, it's so creepy because, I'm not going to say, well, I don't want to, I mean, fuck it, I might as well. You guys know a lot more about me now because I'm slowly opening up to you. I don't normally do that, but I can tell you this. My ex used to talk about a black spot or a black hole that he had. And, this dark thing. And he said sometimes it takes over and sometimes I can fight it. So that's kind of like the analogy I'm getting in this scenario with the karmics. It's like their darkness spread so much so that their energy was directed towards my light, but now what's happening is that they can't affect us because we're vibrating at a different level, you know. We're vibrating higher. Man, my nose. It could be because of allergies too, but usually when I read, my nose gets itchy, like I said. So this dark energy is consuming them, and that's what's happening. Anything that they sent, whatever it was, whether it was to hurt your character, whether it was to spread malicious gossip, falsify anything, documents, to steal your content, steal your name, steal your energy, you know, like people who do, like, what are they, identity theft, hiring people to spy on you, hiring a hitman to kill you. I'm talking dark shit. Like, that, this isn't, it's not funny. This is serious shit. Trying, you know, cyberbullying, stalking, wanting to sexually be deviant with you, make you look like a sexual deviant, say that you were this individual that did all these things when they're really the ones that are doing it, not you. You know, they just, all this nastiness, this evil, this pure evil. So whatever they were arcing out there with the darkness is coming back, consuming them like a black hole. Let me just see something, because it keeps saying black hole. So I know a little bit of black holes. They always fascinated me. Sylvia Browne called them the garbage disposal of the universe. Like, it would basically clean space of anything. Because you'd be surprised, but there is litter in space, people. You know, sad but true. What is a black hole? Look at that.
According to Wikipedia, composite image of the core region of Messier 87, taken at radio wavelengths, showing glowing gas surrounding a supermassive black hole.
The event horizon. So black holes have two parts. There is the event horizon, which you can think of as the surface, though it's simply the point where the gravity gets too strong for anything to escape. And then at the center, it is the singularity. So now, and it's so funny because I love that movie Interstellar. Have you guys, I'm sure you've seen that. I'm such a sci-fi geek. I love that movie because they talk about the point horizon and what the black hole is. So it's, oh my God, this is so fucked up. So where do black holes take you? When matter falls into or comes closer than the event horizon of a black hole, it becomes isolated from the rest of space-time. It can never leave that region. It can never leave that region. For all practical purposes, the matter has disappeared from the universe. So that is what's happening, you guys, with the darks, or the negative energies, or the karmics. They're entering this event horizon. They're in the event horizon right now. They know they're on the precipice of making a choice. Now, you can either make a choice. You can vibrate higher, do the right thing, stop attacking the lights, and you can vibrate higher and evolve like the rest of us. Or you can get sucked in from the event horizon into the black hole, where you are basically dispelled from the universal knowledge, the universal connection, the connection to source, the connection to God, whatever you want to call it. You know, to me, that would be a hell. I don't believe in hell personally, but I do believe in a holding place where that's where they go. You know, if they're not doing what they're supposed to be doing, and they think they're God, and they refuse to do the lessons to evolve and grow spiritually, and they want to just keep taking and hurting and killing and pillaging and raping and whatever they're doing with their evilness, they're at the event horizon right now, is what I'm basically feeling, or what Spirit's telling me, or what they're showing me. And it's weird because, oh God, it's kind of making me sick because, yeah, give me a second, sorry. Because I see them slowly being sucked toward, they're at the edge, and it's a circle, seemingly, looks what they're showing me, but it's a black hole, and there's nothing, you know, it's just space underneath this black hole, because this black hole is just a wormhole. I think it's a wormhole to something, or to maybe nothing, to be in the nothingness. You know, like that movie, The Never-Ending Story, the nothing. It just consumed. So, I mean, that's what they're doing, right? That's what these darks are doing. They're consuming. They're not giving energy back. They're just taking. And because they're doing this, they're going to be consumed. They're at the event horizon at this moment. While I'm doing this reading, that's what I'm getting. So they're on the precipice of choice. And those who are truly black, though, they're getting sucked in. I mean, they're just going. Because what's happening is, and that's what, oh my God, that's what Sylvia Brown talked about. She talked about how, because people would ask, well, when we all cross over, and the ones who go to heaven or go to the other side, right? What happens to the dark entities? And she said they're absorbed by the Godhead. Now, what she meant by the Godhead was God and Goddess together form the Godhead. She was agnostic, by the way. I am not agnostic, but I do like some of the agnostic principles. So, and she said that that's what happens. So I think that's what Spirit's showing me right now, is that how these dark energies are going to be absorbed, not necessarily, well, I guess it would be, because the universe is the creator. So that's the way the creator's absorbing them. We're going to, and what I mean by that, guys, is that they will have, probably some of them are really sick right now. A lot of them are on the precipice of crossing over. Or they're too sick to use their energy, so they can't hurt us anymore. Whatever the case may be. And I wouldn't wish this on anybody, because we're lights. We don't want anybody. We want them to come along with us, you know. We're trying. They don't want to listen, though. So we can't, like I said, we can't save everybody. It's not our job to save everybody. This is not a cult or a religion, where our higher selves are embracing what we're meant to do to elevate our souls and our spirit and our light. So we're just doing what we're supposed to do. And then that radiates, you know, whatever it is. But they're not doing what they're supposed to do. They're rejecting the light. And because of that, they're going to be absorbed into the darkness, because that's what they give out and that's what they like. They like the darkness. So that's what I got with that. Ugh. Ugh. I need some fucking sage, man. That was not, I did not expect that to go in that direction. But it makes sense to me now. It makes sense to me why I was fascinated with the dark holes, because I always thought, I mean, universally speaking, it's hard to think. Oh, that's nice. Okay. All right. Because, you know, you talk about this stuff, and it does affect me. I'm an empath, so I pick up on, I have to in order to read it, but I don't want to hold on to it either. So make sure you guys do that. You know, you got to cleanse yourself daily, especially now, because things are, like, really, this war is happening, you know. I remember I said that to somebody a long time ago, and he was like, so what are you saying? It's like there's a bunch of people that are lights and a bunch of people that are darks, and we're battling for the universe. I was like, pretty much. I didn't know how else to say it, you know, but that was ages ago. That was like when I was younger. So let me see. So with that, you're going to be seeing a lot of people crossing over. But then, now let me just get this straight. Not everybody that's crossing over is a dark. So some lights will want to cross over because they can do better work at home to help us, the ones who are staying. So the ones who are going to vibrate back home are going to be doing the work back home to help elevate the schematic of Earth and to vibrate it higher so that we can go to the next level, right? Or so we're going along with the shift. So as we're doing what we're doing, and even Earth is shifting itself. I mean, you see all these disasters that are happening lately, you know. I know a lot of religious people think it's the end times, and in some way it kind of is. But what's really happening is that Gaia is shifting along with us. And so there is going to be some destruction, just like we're doing. We're shifting too, and we're getting rid of old karmic cycles. We're cleaning house. We're purging. emotionally, physically, etherically, mentally, spiritually, on every level. And it's very, I don't want you guys, Spirit just wants you guys to know too, if you've been through all these shifts like we all have, which if you're a light and you're watching this, you've been through it, you're probably exhausted, right? Yeah, there's more to come. But I mean, you're probably exhausted and you're feeling that. But I do want you to know, they're telling me there's a surge of energy that's coming, and you're going to get all that vibrancy back. In fact, a lot of you are going to look a lot younger, because age is not considered something that the higher self understands. So as you're vibrating, you're almost vibrating on a timeline that's reducing age or reverting age, or it's not allowed. It's almost like Spirit's giving you more time to do what is necessary. I wouldn't be surprised if in the future, as time goes on, a lot of us are going to be living longer. I'm getting like 123, you know, like it's weird. It's true though. It's not the same as it was, you know, and it's meant to go that way, and that's fine. Some of you will want to go home because you want to finish your work there, and that's fine too. It doesn't matter. It's a body. Death and dying is a vibration into another realm of existence. There's no need to worry about it. If it's meant to happen, it'll happen. But I do feel like the darks who are being reabsorbed has nothing to do with the lights that are going home. It's two separate things, okay? Because the lights are still going to be working. We don't just sit on a cloud doing nothing. We actually have work to do on the other side. And there's so many planes of existence, multi-dimensions, right? We're multi-dimensional. Other planets, other sides, other Earth schematics, or planet schematics, I'll say. Because I don't want to say there's several Earths. There might be. There's other versions of Earth. But I'm getting that there's always work for us to do. That's why we're, you know, that's why we are, what's the word I'm looking for, guys? Help me out. Oh, God, come on. You know what word I'm talking about. You know, when you live forever. What is that word? I'm having a brain fart. Immortal. Thank you. Immortal. Thank you, Spirit. Okay. Oh, dang. This went on for 57 minutes? Oh, my God. See what I'm saying? No time. All right. I don't follow a clock. I really don't. I literally wake up at 5:30, sometimes 6, depends. But I always, without an alarm. And then I just go about my day and I do what I do. And I look at the clock and I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, sometimes I speed up time and sometimes I slow down time. So there's times I can manipulate the energy, and I'm sure you guys could do that too. We all have that gift. If you don't, play with it. It's pretty interesting. But I am going to end the reading because I didn't think it was going to go on this long. This is a long one. I'm so sorry. But it was a lot of information. It was great. I hope that you guys will leave some comments, you know. Say something. I know people are watching out there. And if you do, I will reply to them, okay? And also, I don't have any specials going on right now. The new client special is always going on. It basically is $20 off any reading or service. I'm going to try and I'll see if I can think of a special maybe for midsummer. Maybe for midsummer. All right, I love you guys. I hope this, I don't know. I don't know how to feel about this. I'm going to have to watch this again because, you know, I forget after I read. I love you guys. Have a good day.